podcast for everybody. So welcome to the potty. Get it? Podcast, party. Welcome to the potty. Yeah. Come on in. Can I get an amen for the cornbread commentary? And come and get served like a commissary. We don't always agree like a promissory. Cause nephew got stats and uncle got facts. And shout out to the viewers cause they always got cracks and jokes. Y'all think y'all funny. Thank you for stopping by. Come on in. Join the party. Cornbread commentary.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We got two angles today. And guess what? We in the room together.
What's up? What's up? I'm in North Carolina. We in here. We in here.
Boy. He back in North Carolina. He done had some good barbecue probably. He probably done had
Waffle House.
Waffle House. Yes,
Bojangles.
But
Mimans.
Mimans.
My mamas.
Your mamas.
So we
And we've been working out too, y'all.
and many I don't like working out in the morning. He been having me going in he had me going in the morning, so
Yeah, I got him out there like 8:00. And I gotta say, I'm proud of nephew. He came out, he was late, and he came in and showed out. Had his uncle there about to die, but it's all good.
Shout out to Daquan, man, for the sending me the workout. We hit the chest and triceps yesterday, so we were feeling good.
I came home last night and told my wife, I said, I keep working out like that, I'm gonna look like The Rock Johnson. So, but no, we back. The cornbread commentary, we got two angles, right?
Up close and personal.
Up close and personal. And listen, today's show, it's a sad thing because we had a special guest lined up, and it was going to be a treat for all of you viewers. Kind of to talk about Black History Month, and we're going to get this special guest on the show hopefully in the next week or two, maybe just maybe you gonna be home.
We'll see how it plans. I should be home for the next one.
We might be live and direct with this special guest, my mama,
my grandma, my Mima,
and my dad, and we wanted to honor them because of the whole podcast came about, because of the cornbread commentary came about because of us having the conversations over my mother's cornbread and my dad's special chicken, barbecue sauce, all of that, and really and truly, we wanted to kind of get their insight and their view on their life, and some of their struggles, and kind of just telling us how things were. All of us 80s and 90s babies and 70s babies, how things were before, and how they paved the way for a lot of the Black history that we are talking about this month. So we couldn't make it happen. We tried up until the last second. That's why we're on about 5 minutes late. But who knows? Next week it might go down. Well, shout out Brady Thompson. What's up to you? I don't know you like that, but shout out to Brady Thompson.
Shout out to Brady, as long as it ain't Tom Brady. But well, happy Black History Month to everybody that's tuned in.
Absolutely.
I know it's February 21st, and obviously we just want to give it shout out to all of us that's making it happen. Regardless of situation.
Right.
This is a sports podcast, but it's also culture, and we are African American before anything else. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's what I want to say about Black History Month.
And let me check. This is a sports podcast, but this is an everything podcast. So this is, hey, listen, we told y'all last week there were going to be some debates coming up. We actually had a good debate from our boy D.D. Lee wanting to talk about businesses working with one another. So we're going to bring those debates to the forefront as well. Give us some time. So, but like we said, there's some sports news today.
That coincides with Black History Month. So
absolutely,
it's not good news, but it is news and
yeah. And I want to say this for all the listeners who are interested or asking or scratching head, why are they talking about Black History Month, right?
Mhm.
I want to say this. We're talking about it because it is our heritage. If you are white, if you're Hispanic, if you are Chinese, if you're anything other than Black, you should know the history as well. And we shouldn't just talk about it 1 month out of the year. We should talk about it every month because there's a lot of inventions. There's a lot of athletes that had to go through hell and high water to be where they are, and to even be known and to be famous. And Black history is not unbiased. I've been told that it's a very, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Black history is not biased. I've been told before that Black history is biased. It is very unbiased. It just happens to pertain to our culture, but it's very unbiased. So this is not just a, hey, we talking about Black people. We talk about everybody.
Mhm.
So, but Black History Month. I got a question for all the viewers out there. Um, I'm going to say some names here, and I'm gonna quiz you two, nephew. The names Franklin McCain, Ezel Blair Jr., Joseph McNeil, and David Richmond. Do those names ring a bell? If they ring a bell to you, before you Google it, type it in the comments. Nephew,
They sound important.
they sound very important.
uh, last name Blair.
Yeah,
I f- it sounds.
not
It
not
sounds.
Tony Blair.
It sounds like engineering, but I may be wrong.
Any of the viewers, I'll give you 5 seconds
Somebody,
before.
somebody commented. Oh, they didn't. They didn't give us an answer. Though.
No answer. All right. These five gentlemen were the catalyst to the Greensboro sit-in movement.
Ah, okay.
All right.
All right.
Back in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Oh.
That actually happened in July 25th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, February 1st through July 25th. It started a movement. So it wasn't a one-day thing, it was a movement.
Okay.
And this is what I wanted my mom and dad to come and speak on, to kind of talk about, um, their remembrance and what they remember about the Greensboro sit-in, and hopefully we'll get that soon.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the five gentlemen that actually decided that they were not going to get up, remove themselves out of their seats. They wanted to be served just like their white counterparts.
Wow.
And some would say that's militant, but that's a strong stand to allow me and you to be able to sit at a restaurant today.
Strong sit.
It's a strong sit. Facts. It's a strong sit. I like that. Um, so when we talk about Black History Month, we gotta remember that there were people who sacrificed. And I actually had a conversation. I hope he jumps on to the podcast this week. I had a good in-depth conversation with Dee Dee Lee last week, and man, it got so in-depth. It was like, wow. He was talking about how we as blacks sometimes, and I don't want to get off course real
Mhm.
quick, there is sometimes the crutch. He felt like there was possibly a crutch used of slavery. Not, we talked about it. We talked it out like men. It was nothing crazy, no ill will, all love, and we kind of just gave perspective to one another. Perspective's a good thing, people.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, I had this saying, some of you've heard it, some maybe not. There's people who live in Florida that's never been to the beach. Now that's one thing, right? That's perspective. You surrounded by water
Mm-hmm.
and you never been to the beach. And so therefore somebody's perspective matters, because somebody could be living in the middle of an ocean or a peninsula. So that's why we come to the podcast, so we can have perspective. So back on schedule, I think it's important that we talk about Black history
Yep.
and give perspective to people who don't understand. Fair?
Fair. 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 Because a
You-
lot of times they don't really teach it in school. They'll teach MLK, just the basic things, but they don't get down or deeper into it or really conversation.
Yeah.
That stems back to the podcast we had, a few months ago, Mr. Antoine, about critical race theory.
Right.
All that stuff goes, hand in hand. So regardless of it is our month,
It is.
technically, but I mean, we should all be celebrating each other every day,
Right.
regardless of the month.
Regardless of the month.
But that was my 2 cents. Anything else you had to say about it?
No, I'm proud. I'm proud of this Black History Month. I'm proud of what Martin Luther King wanted for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and listen to his speech, it was a speech about being included, but it was for everybody. So I'm proud of that. Sometimes I tear up thinking about that. So yeah, happy Black History Month. Let's continue to celebrate it.
But it's not so good news coming for Black History Month right now. About 2 hours ago, the the Hawks, they ended up firing Nate McMillan, which is I believe he's a Raleigh native.
He is in Low High School.
Mm-hmm. Did he play NC State?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Trying
He
to
has
fact
he
check.
I'm about to say he has NC State ties. Sidney Lowe's on his staff. Him, Lavelle, Moten,
Yeah.
TJ Warren, all of them are pretty. PJ Tucker, all of
PJ
them are
Tucker.
pretty close.
Lavelle Moten.
But the Hawks fired him. Or one thing I don't like is sometimes when it comes to us, they fire. But like Steve Nash, he parted ways.
Right.
The language means a difference. But either way, they don't have a job. So that's big news for the Hawks. There, they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Right.
So.
Right. Oh, and by the way, he was actually with the Chowan for 2 years and then transferred to NC State.
Okay, I felt like he had some NC State ties. So.
My bad. Y'all know how I feel about State.
Yeah, but I know Sidney Lowe's on his staff, so
Yeah.
he kept it in the family. But wherever he goes, he's gonna land because he's a great coach. So.
Does the Nate McMillan firing have anything to do with Trae Young?
I think so.
Okay.
It was either Trey was gonna leave or Nate was gonna leave. It's hard to find a franchise player or a franchise caliber player. So you can always pretty much the coach is more expendable than the player at this point.
I get it. I understand the business, but the problem is Trae Young. I'm not a fan, so I'm going to point the finger at Trae Young. I think he's hard to play with. I think he's a tough teammate to have. So maybe Nate wasn't doing it for the overall team. I did hear of some sit outs from Trae Young and some stuff like that a couple weeks ago. But Nate, I hope you bounce back. I know you'll bounce back. He's been in the league coaching for a long time.
I would love to see him possibly. He's not a head coach. Possibly join that Phoenix Suns staff because you got head coach Monty Williams, and then you have North Carolina guys like Chris Paul and TJ Warren on the roster. So, all he got to do was be him.
Ooh, that would be a hell of a staff.
Yeah,
that'd be a hell of a team.
And you have James Jones as the GM, one of the youngest GMs in the league. So I like, Nate, going down to the Valley, man.
Go to the Valley. Nate, come to Charlotte.
Hey, that might actually who you have right now? Correa? His name?
I don't know.
Whatever his name is, he can go.
As the old folks say, hell if I know. I'm a Charlotte fan. Y'all know I'm a Charlotte fan.
Yeah, my dad commented. We met him. I was like in elementary school. It was a Friday night. That's the first time I ever met Nate McMillan. Oh, yeah. It was at Adventureland, and his son was playing. I think it was at Portland University or something like that. But he was coaching Trailblazers. Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, all of them. And we saw him at Adventure Landing, and he took the time out to take pictures and talk to us. So
you get the autograph?
I don't think we did. I mean, I didn't know him. I didn't know he was like that, but my dad did. So he wasn't a Tar Heel, so I ain't really mad at me. But
if it had been somebody like Donald Williams or somebody like that, you.
But shout out to Nate McMillan all those years ago for taking the time out, to speak with me, and hopefully one day if things go right, I get to interview him courtside. So we'll see.
We shall see. You know what? If I got any Nate McMillan connects, I got a few connects in the basketball arena. Reffing. I'm gonna reach out to some of y'all. If y'all know Nate, tell him we want him on the Cornbread Commentary.
So I ain't trying to be funny, but he should have a little time. He should have a little free time right now for somebody to scoop him up.
What when you become a comedian?
So Nate, if you see this, Mr. Nate, because I still respect you. You know, come come through, man.
Oh Lord, hey, shout out to Antonio Scarborough. What's going on, cuz?
But I know we talked about this, you know, in our text message.
Yep.
But last week, you know, where was the best spot for Russell Westbrook? And what were you thinking?
I said it on the show last week. He needed a change of scenery,
Mm-hmm.
and he got just that. He didn't have to go far. Here's the reason why he didn't go far. Russell Westbrook just purchased like a $60 million house in LA, and I get it. These guys can play in the city and live in another city, but Russell Westbrook is trying to tell you, I'm trying to retire in LA. And the change of scenery just happened to be in the same building.
Hmm.
I don't know if they don't share the same locker room, but the scenery change was more of a what's the term? Proverbial? What's that term?
I look at it as culture.
Culture. It's crazy what culture would do to you in the same building. I've seen it in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Patrick Beverly spoke about it not too long ago.
what Pat say?
So essentially, I don't have the quote, but essentially he was saying, you know, it was just not basketball right now.
Mm.
You know, with LeBron chasing the record, you know, what comes with being in LA, you know, team losing, players hurt, Anthony Davis in and out the lineup,
Right.
first year coach Darvin Ham, and Westbrook having to come off the bench.
Right.
Just a lot going on. So my thing is, for one, Westbrook wanted to go somewhere where he was wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and Paul George is one of his best friends. So
Mm.
and he's starting, he's not coming off the bench. So when you're wanted, it makes a difference.
Absolutely.
So
I feel that way in my personal life with jobs I've had. You don't know nothing about that yet. You only had one job. But whenever you feel like your work is worth something to yourself and others, you will do better. That's NBA. That's digging ditches.
Mm-hmm.
That's being an IT professional. No matter what or who you are, being a school teacher, I've seen that with school teachers over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely for a guy who does get paid a lot of money, I get it. But absolutely for a guy who sits in front of thousands every night, millions watch him on TV, you want to feel appreciated because he obviously felt appreciated in OKC.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Russ. I've been watching him a long time because of KD.
Right.
Some of the things, like his approachability, sometimes is what gets him a bad rep.
Right.
But at the same time, he human just like us. Like sometimes you ain't gonna have a good day.
Right.
I think he could be better with the media, but also the media could be better. Like last week, I heard people saying like they wouldn't put their name on it,
Right.
but they were saying like, oh, the Lakers got a vampire out of their locker room now, pretty much, you know. And his wife commented on it saying like, hey, now I got to explain to my kids, our kids, you know, that their dad is not a real like a literal vampire. So I think it's a two-way street. Russ could be more approachable, but also the media, the way they treated him when he got the triple doubles,
Right.
like the Joker that plays for the Nuggets. Like, so right now he's been, you know, going for a third MVP. He's averaging triple double. They're, you know, giving him praise.
Right.
But Westbrook averaged triple double 3 years, and they gave him flack for it.
Didn't he break Oscar Robinson's record?
So they're like keep the same energy pretty much. Nick Young said that today. So my thing is, it's just I don't know. We just gotta we can't pick and choose.
That's the problem with today's society.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a actually go down a rabbit hole real quick, but on the same topic, keeping the same energy. The society today doesn't understand how to keep that same energy. Society today literally has amnesia, gets amnesia really quick, and it's unfair to NBA players who have done a lot. It's unfair to a lot of people. You're a boss wherever you work right now. Probably has forgotten about something that you did great for the company a year ago. Saved the company a lot of money. So that's society. And once again, I'm an 80s baby, but it felt like there was more appreciation back in the day because we didn't have social media, and you were able to remember things a whole lot longer
Mhm.
because that's what you had to remember,
Mhm.
not somebody shoving something else in your face. So, I mean, unfortunately, you're right. Keep the same energy because the dude was going off. I remember it was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Dude was going off. I'm not a Westbrook fan, but I was literally every night was glued to the TV, watching and waiting. So
Mhm.
it is unfortunate. Shout out Sean Lee, what's good?
She said, keep serving the cornbread."
We're gonna keep doing that. Absolutely. Sean Lee, man, come on, bro. Duke Nation.
What he say?
Duke Nation.
I can't even read that. You know what I'm saying? The way my mind is set up,
This
I
boy
just bypass
crazy.
all the foolishness.
Boy crazy. I
we
swear, boy. It's always somebody in the bushes.
we
Always.
talking about Westbrook. He talking about Duke. Like they rank.
It be your own kind. It really do.
DD. This is why black people can't support each other because they like Duke.
It be your own kind, man. I swear. Black History. We just got finished having a beautiful introductory on Black History Month. This is how it was. I swear, boy.
But,
Anyways.
I know we NFL season is over, but since we really talking about Black History Month, I wanted to bring up the topic. The Commanders hired Eric Bieniemy
The
as
Commanders.
their offensive coordinator. He literally just won a Super Bowl as offensive coordinator.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so they said he has to prove himself without Patrick Mahomes, whatever that means.
I've been there. I've been there before. I've trained. Can I speak up?
Yeah, I don't
I've
have.
trained my own dogs before. I've been there. Sorry, I wasn't making millions of dollars though, but I've been there. I understand. Sucks in 2023. I don't know what to say.
I don't either, but I know my homie Mike that I work with. He's a Commanders fan through and through,
Yeah.
and he was saying, man, Sam Howell got a genius with him now.
Oh yeah.
So
That's gonna be a beautiful combination.
but I don't understand why he couldn't get a head coaching job. I don't understand that. I mean, anyways, I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. I know y'all
Because it is Black History
yeah,
Month.
and a lot of it's not Redskins anymore, but a lot of you guys support them. So
The Commanders.
but if Jeff Bezos getting to be the Washington Prime, so we'll see.
The Washington Prime. If that happens, I know who my wife is pulling for from here on out. She pulling for.
Oh,
She a Panthers fan like me. I told you last week we was looking for a new team, possibly.
Mhm.
But if Jeff Bezos take over the the Washington Redskins and name it the Prime, she gone.
Every lady in the world is gonna be a fan.
They're gonna have to build a 200,000 seat stadium.
They're gonna have to y'all can order Amazon Prime in the seats.
In the seats.
That would be crazy. If that happens, copyright this episode because we said it first.
Bro, I hope it don't happen.
Hey man, build around Sam Howell. He's a Tar Heel.
He is. He's a great Tar Heel too.
Speaking of Tar Heels,
Speaking of Tar Heels.
I'll let you do this one segue. You got it.
So you want me to skip this? You want me to skip this segment?
You can go ahead and do this.
All right. All right, let's just get into it. You know what? I'm not even all that upset and broken up about it because I'm a perspective guy.
I'm emotional.
Yeah, he emotional. I'm too old to be emotional. Carolina, NC State defeated my Tar Heels 77-69. I did watch the game. I sat there numb. I actually go back, watch our episode 3 or 4. I actually said that NC State and Carolina was split this year. I said it. And I actually said they were split on their home courts. I said it. Game recognizes game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I want to rain on y'all's little parade real quick over there in Raleigh. And all you State fans, Dexter Smith, Terry Thompson,
Your
Anthony
wife.
Barber,
Your wife.
my wife, Caleb Love jumped on a press conference. We need to get Caleb on the commentary.
I'm gonna have to hit Caleb up on Instagram.
Hit him up. jumped on a press conference, a pre-game midweek press conference, and said it's not a rivalry. He did not lie. He told zero lies. We have beat the living daylights, the brakes off of you guys for the last 10 years, the last decade and some change. You might have maybe three wins against us in the last 15 years. Let me run this back for you, who you've had on your squad in the last 15 years. Cat Barber,
TJ Warren,
Dennis Smith, Tony Buckets,
mm-hmm.
TJ Warren,
Rodney Purvis, Scott Wood.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
What's the little point guard they had? Saw him in the mall. He don't even look like he played basketball.
You get my point. My point is,
CJ Leslie.
Julius Hodge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can keep going.
Yeah. They had names. It was one year they had Lorenzo Brown. They had a whole starting five.
A whole start. And you win one little game. You didn't even beat us by 10. We talked about Carolina last week. Let me get into this, Mike. We talked about Carolina last week. Carolina is a low IQ team with a lot of athletes. Our last year's team, the IQ didn't develop until late in the season. And the IQ guy was Brady Manick.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone. Pete Nance, Lord have mercy.
I tried to vouch for him earlier, but
you tried. Pete Nance is not a high IQ. I would do better on the court than Pete Nance would. All right. So we talked about that last week. So NC State's full of IQ and skill with Joyner and Smith. And I like the big boy Burns.
Mm-hmm.
He plays like a 90s NBA center.
And he got touch and he passed great.
I'm trying to put a finger on it. Maybe like a Charles Barkley.
I would say Glenn Big Baby Davis.
Too new. I'm just trying to give him some respect.
Oh, okay.
So, great team. You got one win from Carolina in the last 3 years. Have your little fun this year. Don't say another word until you can get at least 5 in a row on us.
That ain't happening. Which is one of our worst years right now. We still gonna split.
I hope we meet y'all again in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I think Puff is gonna have to start going forward.
Yeah.
I don't.
And again, I gotta back Hubert. I gotta back him up.
I can't blame it on him.
Everybody on Hubert. I seen Ronald Rollins post something about Hubert Davis. I can't say what I really want to say right now because this is a show for everybody. Get off of Hubert's back.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say something else. Hubert's just fine.
My thing is, like you said last week, he's coaching Coach Roy Williams' players.
Yeah.
My thing is, I think Pete Nance is going to have to come off the bench for Puff Johnson.
Right.
I love RJ.
Right.
But RJ and Caleb, one of them got to go to the bench, I think.
Okay.
Because RJ, he kind of dribbles too much to me, but he also struggles on defense this year.
Yeah.
I will give Caleb credit. He actually plays defense.
Yeah. When he was down in a slump, he played better defense.
So I think some adjustments got to be made. And with that, it's going to make players hungrier, or have a chip on their shoulder, which we need to.
Right.
And Baycott just got to be stronger with the ball, man.
I wish he would be more vocal.
Yeah.
Instead of fussing and cussing in the locker room, do it on the floor.
Like Bryce Johnson.
Once again, State, we want to give you your credit.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a stellar season. Okay? I don't hate State the way State hates us.
I mean, I want to see that coach do well. I mean, he was playing coaching for his job this year, and he came through.
I want to see State do well.
I ain't gonna say all that.
I'll say this much: I'm tired of beating down on State.
I think back to when we were snowed in and we beat them by 50. With Dennis Smith.
Right.
Seven Woods was out there looking like a star.
You ain't lying.
Oh,
I think the third string got in like
yeah.
10 minutes to go in
I
the
think
game.
that was the year we won the championship.
Possibly.
Yeah, that was the Seven Woods freshman year.
Those kind of things don't happen in state at all. Hasn't happened since '83. I wasn't even born.
I wasn't even. My dad and my mom was probably 10 years old.
Right.
So I don't know. I ain't trying to be a hater, but it is what it is.
I mean, let's move on, right? So when we move on, NC State's going to have a great season. What's their record right now?
They are 21-7.
That's great. There's like 4 games left.
Mm-hmm.
I think State, honestly, could go very deep in the tournament.
Hey, it's a guard's game.
Right. And I like Tucravion because he's an Eastern North Carolina Farmville Central kid.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Farmville Central, Rabbit Hole,
Mm-hmm.
Farmville Central, Goldsboro, Princeton.
2A playoffs.
2A
I saw the
playoffs.
post today.
Boy, that's going to be, if you bored on a Tuesday or Thursday night, catch one of them 3 teams.
I'm going to try to catch one.
Yeah. So back on topic. State 21-7, 11-6 in the ACC. Much respect, State.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you go really deep. I'd rather you go deep than Duke.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Duke. Let me hush.
That's what Max Kellerman said about Tom Brady years ago. Fall off a cliff.
Look at this cat right here. Put it on the screen.
Well, let me see what he said. He said, this one right here.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Nah. Yeah, that one. Man, be quiet. Stop, DD.
Just tune in. Just stay cornbread fed, man.
That's right.
Stay cornbread.
You know what this is about. All right, we are going to move on.
Mm-hmm. So just a yes or no. This is yes or no for anybody and everybody that's watching.
All right.
Can the Tar Heels still make the NCAA tournament?
Hell no.
Okay. I want to see what they say. I'll give them a couple seconds.
Sorry for cussing, mama.
Yeah. Can
the
Tar Heels still make the tournament, NCAA tournament? Yes,
Nope.
sir. Technically they can, but I don't know if they can get it done. I don't know.
It's gonna take them winning the rest of the last remaining 4 games, which is against Virginia. Gotta
play Duke again.
Gotta play Duke again, and then also they gotta
Wake Forest tomorrow.
Wake Forest tomorrow. They gotta win. If they lose to Wake Forest, not at all. Then they gotta win the ACC tournament.
Well, they can lose all those and win the ACC tournament.
I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Tomorrow starts a new league. We about to win out. I'm calling it here. We about to win out. We about to win out.
You sound like everybody around New Year's. New Year, new me.
Shout out to this Anthony Barber, man. I had the pleasure of watching the game with him. He said, Carolina gonna figure it out. I just hope they don't figure it out against us. And they got the win. So
shout out to Mr. Anthony Barber. That's my balling partner. When I play with Mr. Anthony Barber on Sundays, we usually go undefeated.
I'm gonna try to get him.
I like you, Ant. I trust you.
He the only State fan,
but I don't believe.
he said they'll figure it out. He just hoped they didn't figure it out against them. So, I
Profit Barber.
Hey, when Baycott hit that, they were on a run, and Baycott hit the and one. Should have saw how he acted. He said he threw his head on the ground, boy. He jumped out the chair. Yeah. I should have recorded it.
Yeah,
but
I just don't see it. I really don't want to talk about it anymore. It's shocking.
I mean, I don't. We could be the first team ever be a number 1 seed and then not make the tournament, or going from a championship to not making the NCAA tournament.
I don't care.
Mr. Antoine, I remember you posed this question. I'm gonna ask you.
All right.
If they were to get rid of Hubert Davis, would you want Jerry Stackhouse? I don't think they'll let him be him, but would you want him to be there?
That's a tough one. The Tar Heel in me says yes. but the X's and O's in me. I mean, I think Jerry. I haven't even looked at the record. Pull up Vanderbilt's record for me. While he's doing that, the Tar Heel in me says yes. Um, Coach X's and O's. I have somebody else in mind.
You gonna say Wes Miller?
Yes, yes, Wes Miller. So that's a tough one. Um, let me ask you that question.
uh, let me see here. I was gonna look at their record.
Don't try to get away from the question.
Um, personally, I want to stick with Hubert for
Okay.
4 years. I mean, his first recruiting class is coming in next year, so I want to see. I want to give him at least. I don't think any coach could really do anything in 2 years. I think you need 4 years. If not, then make that change. I like Wes Miller. I like Jerry Stackhouse. Stormy. You're watching this. Stormy threw out Lavelle Moten in there.
Yo, me and your dad had this conversation. Yeah, some of y'all gonna hate me for this. I just don't. I don't see Lavelle. I love Lavelle. I love everything he's done with Central. I just don't see Lavelle being able to bring in those recruits.
Mm. Well, Lavelle, he tight with KD, so he cool with me.
I get it. I just don't see him. It could be more of a setup for him.
Mm. I honestly, if I was him, this was before Nate got fired.
Yeah.
I would have wanted him to go to the NBA and be assistant coach.
Right. I can see that. I think that's a better fit for him. It's almost like Sidney Lowe coming back to state.
Sean Didi had a question. Didn't Roy do it within 2 years? Win his first championship?
Absolutely.
But this is different times now.
Roy did it before NIL
Mm-hmm.
transfer portal. And we're gonna pick up the transfer portal, but nephew got this Boost Mobile plan, so his phone ain't
Oh
working.
my God. I'm in the sticks.
Vanderbilt 8-6, 15-12. They are 2 games above 500 in their conference, which is a very tough conference this year in the SEC,
Mm-hmm.
and about 3 games above 500 overall. It's hard for me to say yes to Stackhouse. I don't know that Stackhouse can bring
I think he can.
any more than Hubert.
Oh no, not more than him. But his name alone, he's gonna bring players.
True.
And his Carolina brand. So it's Stackhouse brand and Carolina brand.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, Didi, what you mean? Did Roy do it? Didn't Roy do it in 2 years? Yeah, absolutely, he did.
Hubert was an inch away from doing it in year one.
An inch. I mean, a injury. Baycott literally twisting the ankle on a floor that was buckling, losing the ball because of his injury. He's about to go. He was about to go to work.
He was killing.
He was killing
killing them.
So, this is what me and your pops is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, Moten builds chemistry with his team. He won't be able to do that where most of his players will go pro or transfer. I agree. That's the conversation we were having.
I wish Stormy was up here because her and Mr. Antoine gave me a long conversation about why he would be great for Carolina.
But I think everybody's bringing in their. Let me be careful. I think people are using their likeness, their love for Lavelle Moten. I like him too. But then there's business.
Mm-hmm.
There's a business side to everything, and Mr. Wimby knows that. Stormy knows that. Me and Donald Madison was having this conversation about some gentlemen not being in the right place, not being or getting opportunities with high school basketball coaching jobs that should have them.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's all about how you present the whole gamut of it, not just what you done at Central. I just don't see that being a sexy hire for Carolina.
Now I could see him going to state.
Absolutely, and everybody's like, "Well, what's the difference?" State doesn't hire within.
Hmm.
They tried that with Sid, didn't work.
Carolina got too many alumni for them not to try.
Speaking to the mic, say that again.
Carolina has too many alumni not to
Right,
try or not to hire within. You got Sean May coming up soon. You
right,
got
right,
Wes Miller. You got Jerry Stackhouse. I mean, Rasheed Wallace coached high school.
right.
So, I mean,
There's just so many,
and
so many up, so many guys up next.
in the culture, they know the culture.
Right.
They've been in the culture. So,
Yeah. I mean, love Lavelle. If it happened, I'd be pulling for
yeah.
him.
But Hubert's still the guy for me. So.
Speaking of NIL, DD, Sam, anybody else that's listening in on this that knows sports, I got a question for you. Is the NIL here to stay? And is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
NIL is going to stay for one. They're about to come out with an NCAA football game, so it has to stay for at least another 2 years. Um, yeah, I once you start something like that, it's really no going back.
All right. Two-part question. What about the transfer portal? Does I'm gonna ask you, then I'm gonna definitely give my opinion. The transfer portal.
Here
What
to
do what do
stay.
you think about it?
Here to stay because the NBA is already talking about lowering the age.
Okay.
I just saw that. So players could either go to college or go straight to the league. And if they have the freedom to transfer, they more apt to go college.
All right. Now, isn't the NBA watered down because of so much access of players who actually should have more development and should wait?
I would say guaranteed contracts.
All right.
That's the biggest thing. Um, their money is fully guaranteed in NBA, so they're more apt to skip college if
But
they can.
but they have NIL money.
Ain't the same as NBA money though.
All right. So, do you agree or disagree that the transfer portal needs to be tweaked?
Well, I mean, what can you tweak? I mean,
I'm glad you asked. Ladies and gentlemen, is the Titus Blake transfer portal plan. I think, and me and Donald Madison had this conversation. I think that we need to hold these young men and women accountable for making a decision.
mm-hmm.
Making a decision that schools, I know what you're saying, these schools made a lot of money. I ain't say take their money away. Let them have the NIL. Make these cats sit out at least a game or two in the next season at their new school. It's kind of like the thaw out process. It gives them time to think about it and say, hey, coach was hard on me. He wasn't that bad. I think I'll stick it out. Instead, allowing them to be able to up and jump and move. Now, mind you, before the transfer portal was introduced, a kid had to sit out a whole year. I didn't agree with that.
He said make them stay at least 2 years. If they do like NIL.
I agree with that, D. Some would say that's a little harsh. But my thing is we're trying to make college sports. We're trying to turn it into amateurism, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just tore that word all to pieces. And we're also trying to still protect college sports and not cannibalize college sports. We got to put the foot down somewhere where a young man or a young woman just has that thaw out process and just says, yo, I'm out. Because coaches don't know how to build their systems. There's scholarships that they give out every year. Compliance. There's a lot of money that goes into scholarships or a player coming to that school. And it's almost like if you ever been in, I relate a lot back to the real world. I've been a hiring manager before. It's more than just the salary behind what I hired you to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the insurance, it's the payroll insurance, it's a lot of stuff. If your company provides you a car, it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So the same thing with college sports. We need to hold these kids accountable. That needs to be tweaked, if you ask me.
Hmm. Uh, my thing is, I think the biggest reason NIL is so prominent because a lot of these big time players come
Speaking to
in.
the mic so they can
A
hear
lot of these big time players come in already with a social media presence,
you.
social media brand.
And
So they have NIL calculators. Like the Haley Van Lit that plays for Louisville women's basketball.
yeah,
Her before the NIL, they were doing estimated NIL. Her brand was worth over $2 million, and she wasn't able to capitalize on all of that until 2 years ago. So that's the reason why she stayed another year in college to capitalize. Because if you go to the WNBA, you're not gonna make that. But
no,
if you stay in college, I'm speaking on women's basketball, she's getting close to $3 million because of her social media brand presence and how she plays on the court. So I can't say make them sit out. I mean, because the old rules. I mean that's really going back to the old
no,
way.
it's
Really,
not. They getting paid. I didn't say sit out. Now, was it D said what 2 years
say at
or
least 2 years.
make them stay at least? I said make them sit right at least. We should put a honestly, and this is the conversation me and Donald Madison was having. We should put some kind of um stipulation on it. If you decided to transfer because of family issues, 1 game.
Hmm.
If you decided to transfer for no real reason, 4 games, 5 games in
But
basketball.
you can't decipher. You wouldn't be able to decipher the reason.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, we
It's called decorum, right? Have a letter. They have to write a
ah,
letter stating because I've seen too many programs literally get hit out of nowhere. They actually found out that a kid was transferring on Twitter.
but what if they say it's for mental health reasons? You can't not say that's facts.
Okay, we need to now have a uh, appeal process. All
Okay.
right, and say, hey, listen, let's tell me about your mental health.
Mhm.
You want to transfer? If your mental health is that bad, should you still be playing a sport?
It could be where they at though.
I get it. I
Like
get,
back
but
to the Westbrook situation. Situations and scenery matter.
you should be able to you should get to make those decisions once you're a professional. You're giving a lot of autonomy to kids. Number one, who moms and
See what
dads.
Brady said.
Um, well, let me finish this thought, and I'm gonna jump on
Hmm.
that. You're giving a lot of autonomy to kids, but then you got moms and dads in the background. If you look at this, what's the name, Gigi Jackson
Hmm.
situation, that was all his dad. So now, because things didn't work out the way daddy wanted it or mama wanted it, now kids got to move. Maybe the kid really wanted to be there. So that's why you got to start putting the stamp down.
Hmm.
What Brady got here? I, listen, I, I'm from a different era. I'm gonna step on some toes here. D, we talked about this last week. If you say anything in regards to mental health, I get it. Everybody all of a sudden backs off. But if you're saying that you have a issue with why you need to change a school in which you were perfectly fine going to when everything was great, we need to have some kind of reasoning besides a mental health, right? Now let's go through the whole counseling process. If you got a mental health issue before you leave this school, you need to talk to our counselors. Isn't that not fair?
Or they could, I would say, get outside counselors approved by both parties.
Absolutely. If you have a mental health issue, now we're going to help you solve your mental health issue because now it's more about you than it is about the sport. I get it. Mental health is something new. I get what the law say. I
Mm.
understand that, but I'm just saying, like, that's why I said involve the counselors.
But if there's no reason they just want to leave, I would say you would have to do more, at least 10 games if that's gonna work. Because
Absolutely.
2 games ain't nothing. You can sit out 2 games. That's like Carolina. That's UNCW, and
But think about this. Let's say Carolina plays, schedules come out like halfway through the season or at the end of the season.
hmm
A kid is on the fence. Coach, he didn't like what coach said one day. And Carolina's schedule comes out. And next year, Carolina literally has like Kansas.
hmm
And they playing that game in London. Then the kid gonna be like, oh snap. I think I'm gonna stick around now. I'm going to London.
I have a a real life example right now.
All right.
One of my homies, I don't want to say no names or
Don't say no
anything.
name.
He his little brother plays football. They have a new coach. This is college in North Carolina. Has the most accolades on the team.
Well, you about to tell his name, ain't you?
No, I ain't gonna say it. Has the most accolades on the team. New coach comes in there and cuts him. Pretty much making an example out of him. He hasn't been in any trouble, no issues on the field or off the field. And would you penalize him for transferring?
That's what I was getting to. I mean, there's a whole transfer process that I feel like they should put in account. If the coach,
It's a new coach.
if a new coach comes in, yes, I think you should be able to transfer. And I kid you not, me and Donald Madison had this conversation. That was one of the stipulations. If a new coach comes in, you should be able to have the right of way to transfer. But if you were recruited by the coach and you just didn't like how things, but I got to get a lot of credit to um Seventh Woods
Mm-hmm.
because Seventh struggled and stayed 3 years.
But it hurt his career. If he would have left
I-
earlier, and who knows what happened.
Like I said, there's a lot of layers to it. I just think that it is saturated with too many transfers, and there's a stat out there. There's like 13,000 NCAA athletes. It was 1,000 in the transfer
Mhm.
portal,
Oh yeah, it was so many.
and then some of them didn't even get picked up. So you could be hurting yourself.
And then last question for you: we wouldn't have had Brady or Pete without the transfer portal. So.
I don't care about Pete.
Oh man.
That's why I'm mad with the transfer portal.
But yeah, man, that like Walker Kessler situation.
I ain't like
So-
Walker Kessler anyway.
But I mean, it's just everybody's situation different. So I don't.
get it.
That's why I don't know how they gonna judge. Like I don't know how they gonna police every situation.
Can't please everything, but you can put some standards into it. There's no standards right now. It's just like the
Mhm.
wild, wild west.
Because a lot of people just quit midway through. If they see their team, almost like in college football, if your team is got one loss, you pretty much out of the race for the
Right.
championship.
right.
A lot of them are like, okay, if we lose a game by game 8, I'm not playing no more.
right.
So I don't know, man. It's a tricky situation, but when money is involved, it's always tricky. Always tricky.
I got 4 years of eligibility, so I'm gonna try to find somebody who is willing to pick me up.
Okay, Brandon Whedon.
I'm trying to slim down right now so I can get back to like 200.
you want to kick?
Nah, I'm going to catch everything. I got hands now. I still got them hands.
Hey man, I'll be a kicker.
I mean, I go kick, but I'm just saying I got hands. So I got 4 years of eligibility. If Johnston Community College is listening, Shaw, St. Aug, anybody, I'll come play for you if you can't fill up your roster.
But yeah. I do want to give a shout out to all the JoCo basketball teams, that's
Yeah.
going into the playoffs.
That ain't many.
Shout out to Coach Lee, Coach Marlon Lee, man.
Yeah, absolutely. My
We
bad.
still gonna bring you up here, man. But
Yeah.
shout out to you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Any other coaches you want to give a shout?
Yeah, shout out to Marlon Lee because his squad is in the playoffs. Women's basketball, by the way. And I said that not to be funny. I said that because a lot of times women's basketball doesn't get the credit. We
Mhm.
talked about this in our first 4 episodes.
Mhm.
WNBA. Shout out to Clayton High School, Marlon Lee. Also, shout out to the Princeton Bulldogs. Man, they got this kid. I'm gonna chop his name up. I'm getting old. Aiden Taylor. This kid was
46.
I watched it, witnessed it with my own eyes. This kid was 1 point away from making the school record. And the sad thing is, he missed 2 free throws that night. Free throws are important.
Wow.
Yeah. And then shout out to Goldsboro, even though Goldsboro I didn't attend. It's where I was born, and we always kind of claim Goldsboro. They had this kid, man, this facing kid that is just crazy. So shout out to them. Also, West Johnston is in the playoffs as well.
What about the North Johnson
I was
guy?
getting there. I was
Okay.
getting there. I was kind of saving it for last.
Okay.
Shout out Charles B. Acock as well. It's like another school uncle. I taught there for a while. So kind of somewhat near and dear basketball program. And I got to give a lot of credit to Trail Hall. 'Cause Trail Hall, we call him Big Huggy. One of the funniest guys we know, has a lot of influence on that program with a lot of the kids that he's actually mentored and coached at AAU. Speaking of AAU, shout out to Mike Dobbins.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, last but not least, man, North Johnston. Another kid, young man, Marcel Freeman Jr. This kid actually just broke, or not broke, but he actually hit 1,000 points in 2 years. He's a sophomore. I actually officiated this young man in a league, and when I tell you he's a dog, he was down by like 20 in this game, and I looked at him. And I said, "Hey man, don't you got a lot of gap. You got a gap to make up here." And he looked me in the eyes and said, and kind of said, "I got this." I handed the ball into him. And you know when you look at somebody, you like, this fool gonna do it.
Yeah.
Man, that kid had like 50 some points that day.
Wow.
And he's only 5'9", 5'10". He's a Freeman because he's an athlete and can jump out the gym, can run. His first steps like a rabbit. So shout out to North Johnston. Also, Corey Barnes at North Johnston. The kid probably one of the best shooters I've seen in this county. And then really and truly, man, Farmville Central. So
Mhm.
yeah, man. Shout out to all the local high school teams.
That's
Good
where
luck to all you guys.
that's where Quavion Smith went, right?
Yeah. Yep. Farmville's been putting out football. They used to be a football powerhouse, and now they're a basketball powerhouse. So yeah,
That's all I got this week, man.
that's it. Y'all, we're gonna get this thing cleaned up. We really wanted to bring in some Black History facts.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in a special guest. We got more special guests coming. Also, we have sponsors and we have giveaways with our sponsors as well. We're going to give our sponsors time as well on our show. So stay tuned with us, right? We're going to make it worth your while to be on the Cornbread Commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about gear, clothing,
Mm-hmm.
gift cards, um, percents off to certain vendors that's in the neighborhood right here, so you don't have to go far. So we got a lot going on, and we're still doing this remotely for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So we got kinks to work out. We didn't even get to use our nice new soundboard today, right?
Go ahead and give us something. Go ahead and give us
So we got a lot going on. But stay tuned to the Cornbread Commentary. Nephew, want to take us out, man?
Hey, man. Happy to be home for a little bit. We'll see you guys next week, and always go Tar Heels.
Are we working out tomorrow?
I'm going to work out.
He ain't working
I'm
out.
going to work out with my homie Taquan. He invited me to work out in Raleigh, so I'm gonna go.
All right. Hey, and all y'all, go work out. Get your health in line. Get your health in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you, Sam Blake Jr. All right. We love y'all. We out.
He about to call you.